So hello guys, welcome back to the KP show. The T20 World Cup is in full tilt now. The Super 8 has kicked off. First game, England versus Sri Lanka. England has won that. And secondly, the most important game, India versus South Africa. South Africa has hammered India. It's not just a defeat, it's an innings defeat by all means. 76 runs is the margin of victory for them. And yeah, lots of trouble for India. So, Pratik, let's start with the game flow and then we'll discuss about why India lost. We have a lot of points to make, so stick through till the end of this video. So, firstly, let's start with India's power play bowling. I think it was phenomenal performance from Arshdeep and Bumrah. I'm very happy. Looks great for our future in this tournament. Should we make it through to the semi-final and final? I say should we because we are in that situation due to net run rate. But yeah, let's talk about Bumrah and Arshdeep. What did you think of their performance?
I think they were pretty spot on with the plans, given there was not much swing on offer, as it was a black soil wicket and very on the very dry side, as Aiden Markram said at the toss. And both the bowlers, both the new ball bowlers, I think set up uh, for the wickets very well, uh, especially Jasprit Bumrah, because the odd ball was stopping and he was bowling quick in the first over, then snuck one through the gate for Quinton de Kock, then got one back for Ryan Rickelton off the deck, very on the slower ball, I guess. And also, Aiden Markram was trapped on the crease, trying to play on the up against Arshdeep on a slower on a wicket which was on the slower side at that point of time. I think all in all, it was a good power play start. And apart from the last over, which went for some runs, I think two or three boundaries, Miller hit off Arshdeep. I think the power play bowling was really good from India.
Yeah, I think those are very positive signs. Bumrah was looking a bit of off color, to, I would say, at the start of the tournament. Now he's back. Arshdeep, I mean, two rock stars we have. Let's also talk about South Africa. It was a brilliant comeback. Miller, Brevis, and Stubbs. Those three guys actually did a great job to bring South Africa back into this game. Stubbs, towards the end, of course, hitting Hardik for those two sixes, kind of completely switched the momentum to South Africa's side. And in those middle overs, Miller took an absolute liking to Indian bowlers. He continues his trend of smashing us in World T20s. If you remember, the 2022 World Cup. And yeah, 2024 went our way, but looks like Miller got one back.
Yeah, for sure. I think the experience he has, I think it played in his favor, and especially taking down the spin part, because that was the main concern. Because how they're going to play Varun Chakravarti or the other spinner, whoever was playing, it was a main concern for, because these two are pretty new at the international level. If you
Mm.
see Brevis as well as Stubbs, and they Miller, I think, took the onus on him and did the bulk of scoring against the spinners. So all in all, I think Miller, it was his day, and also kudos to Brevis. I think he played the situation really well. If you have seen SIT20 this year, you would have seen how good a batsman he has evolved into. Uh, I think was the second high scorer or something. Got a 50 in the semi-final, got 100 in the final there, and he has batted well in situations. For Pretoria Capitals this year, they made it to the final again, but unfortunately they lost, and they lost to a very good, very talented Protea, Tristan Stubbs, and who played a captain's knock in the final. So again, he did the same thing. Came as Jared Kimber calls him, the anchor finisher. He takes some time at the start of his inning, then slowly builds into and blasts it in the end. I think 20 runs of that last Hardik Pandya over, I think it was a bridge too far given the conditions today.
Yeah, I remember you texting me that 180 is still okay for us if it is sub 180, but it was around that 19.3, 19.4 mark where you told me that, and
Before,
the very next,
yeah,
sorry,
two
before
balls
Hardik
went for
Pandya's over.
sixes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then those two sixes happened. And Miller, of course, you talked about his experience. Just to jog everybody's memory, David Miller used to play for Gujarat Titans, and back in 2022, he scored over 500 runs, and that led the Titans to win their first IPL in the very first season. So He's been a key figure and has some good days. Has had some good days at Ahmedabad. So that came to the picture again here. Let's talk about India's side now. I think what let us down was the bowling performance. I mean, because we are talking about the bowling part. Uh, the disappointment that was the three all-rounders for India: Shivam Dube, Hardik Pandya, Shivam Dube with the ball, not with the bat. We'll come down to that, and Washington Sundar with the ball. He didn't bowl much, but it felt like we had to kind of hide him throughout the innings. What did you think about that?
The selection over someone like Akshar Patel, who is your vice captain here. And that is something I could not understand when I saw his name in the team sheet at the toss. And again, Surya said that it was a matchup thing. And if it was a matchup thing indeed, then why did you bowl Bumrah 2 overs in the power play? Because every time we discuss that Bumrah's overs in this format as like gold dust, you only use him when there is no other option left, right? And when you played Washington Sundar, he gets that natural drift with the new ball, all that we have seen, because he's not a big turner of the ball, but he uses those angles and drift to his advantage against the lefties in the new with the new ball. That is his main skill in this format as a bowler. If you are playing him for that reason, then you should have pushed him up front in the second over itself, because there was not lot of swing on offer. I think that was a tactical miss again. Though Bumrah did remove both the lefties, but I think we lost 2 overs as well, which was kind of counterproductive for us in the
Counterproductive.
long run. Yeah, counterproductive for us in the second half of the innings, where maybe another over from Bumrah, maybe we could have like 15-20 runs less. The result could have been different altogether. It could have been
Hmm.
165, 170 at max, with one more
Yeah.
over from Bumrah against Miller and Stubbs, or Miller and this guy Brevis in the middle overs. But we didn't have.
Hmm. Dubey again went for plenty of runs, but he removed Brevis at that crucial juncture. Probably, if he hadn't done that, probably more runs we would have chased. We never know. But still, 2 overs for 32, it was kind of a bit much. And then Hardik again, he bowled three good overs. He was none for 25 of his three, and then conceded those 20 runs in the last over.
Hardik was 2 overs 15 at some point of time. And towards the end, in the recent IPL as well, we have seen that Hardik hasn't been really good in towards the back end of the innings. I think Surya could have managed him little well. Maybe not 1 over at the end or something like that. Maybe uh, could have been little smart with him. That's what I'm saying. Because if you could have used those overs of Washington for what you were playing him, you could have managed Bumrah well, means in a better way, and or accordingly, Hardik's overs could have been managed as well. He should not have bowled at the dead at all.
I
So I
think
think that
this.
was a
I think
tactical miss in that case.
Yeah, I think this is actually also our main point of discussion, to be very honest. I think I wanted to do this towards the end after we talk about the batting half. But since we have already covered most of the points that we were going to say about this selection, so the selection of Washington Sundar, we shouldn't look at it as how Washington Sundar factored into based on his performance in this match, because 11 of 11 with the bat, 2 over 17. Obviously, it doesn't look good, but it's much more than that. What happens with the combination from a combination perspective is that Washington Sundar off late hasn't been good with the bat. You can say that okay, Akshar Patel also hasn't been good with the bat, which is a fair argument if you talk about recent form. But then again, you have to see where Akshar Patel has batted. He has batted at number 8 all throughout the last few games. You don't get much game time. And again, that's not his natural role. The role that Akshar Patel has in this batting lineup is to come in as a fixer. When I say fixer, it means he doesn't necessarily bat. He only bats as a circuit breaker when you lose three early wickets, which was the case today. So Washi actually played at number 5, which made sense. But again, he hasn't actually shown that he can play those kind of innings that Akshat played, aka 2024 final. So I think there also it costed us. Nothing against Washi, but Akshar would have been much more useful on this sort of a wicket, is what I feel. And I could be wrong, by the way, but this is what I feel. Also, with the ball, Washi's selection, as you mentioned, if if it were necessary at all, I absolutely understand the logic with which it was done. Three lefties in the opposition, you take an off spinner, I get it. But then it also comes down to how you have to bring him into the game, as you mentioned, should have been done in the power play. Also, these now the game has moved on so much that now it's not, you cannot just go with a vanilla scenario that three lefties, four lefties, I need an off spinner. Yes, you do, but you need to use them when those lefties are there, right? Two of the three lefties for which Washi was brought on into the side were batting in the top three, which means, and also Washi's strength as a bowler, if you look at his T20 cricket so far, is in the power play. So that's a miss from our side. But yeah, I think that's how I would like to sum up this part, this change that costed us. Now let's get down to the batting. Abhishek and Ishan, what are your thoughts? For me, Ishan, of course, you can't perform every game. He did what he needed to do. Took on Markram, didn't work. It's okay.
See,
About Abhishek. Hmm.
yeah, no, so let's finish up Ishan first. So it's
Hmm.
not like not every game will fine. We should not see it in that way because at this
Hmm.
professional level, you can't go away with saying that every game I can't perform, right? That is
Hmm.
not the case. The thing is, we have to see the data a bit here. The thing is, Ishan Kishan has had his struggles against away going spin bowling from the 6 to 7 meter goal length mark for the against the spinners. So that was the exact plan. And given Markram is more of a traditional off spinner, the one who gives a bit more air, and he's very tall as well. I think 6'2" or something. Markram is. So he's done that Ashwin kind of a height he has, and similar kind of a release point, and he's a traditional off spinner. So he that was a matchup, and that is how you use matchups, and they did use the
Yeah,
matchup and they got the reward. Right? They had barely Markram would have bowled 2 overs. If Ishan or Abhishek, any one of them, he could not get out in the first over. He could have maybe he could have come in for another over, and if one of them could have if he could not get a wicket, then he would have never returned also to the bowling. He did come for 1 over and he got the wicket of Ishan Kishan. Then after that, what happened we also. So I think they had this matchup in the mind and they made a very good use of it. I'd say
mm,
in that way. There are few data points, and I think the analysts will also take care of it, and accordingly they'll prepare Ishan Kishan
mm.
or even Abhishek Sharma for the upcoming games.
Yeah. I think. I mean, see, uh, the conversation becomes very different because we are talking about a run chase. If this were a first innings, then I think that's exactly how I would have wanted Ishan and, in fact, Abhishek and all of our batters to play the way that they did. But just because it is a run chase, you have to kind of be a bit more cautious than what you would generally do, because you already have the run rate that is required right in front of you, and you pace your innings accordingly. So that is the skill that was required here. Also, with Abhishek, kind of disappointed at the start. He was hitting a few shots. Of course, he hit and miss a lot as well, which is quite natural when you're not in form. I personally liked the six that he hit off Rabada. The previous ball, he stepped down the track, he missed it. The next ball, he waited for the ball to come in, and then he like kind of rammed it over the keeper for a six. Good signs, but yeah, still a lot left to be desired.
Yeah, you can say that, but the problem with Abhishek, I feel at this point of time is he's playing more towards his reputation rather than the
Mm,
skill set and situation that is required. The thing is, if you see the closely today, he faced 12 deliveries, out of which three went for boundaries, a single, and a dismissal. So we take out 5 balls. All remaining seven, he was beaten.
mm.
So that is not a good sign if you ask me from a close point of view. The thing is he's playing more on his reputation, which is not a bad thing, but in run chases, as Virat Kohli has always said, it's not about the reputation, it's about the game situation and the awareness. You have to be
Mm,
very smart in the run chase. You can't just go out there and swing at every ball. Because see, these are world class bowlers. These are world class test match bowlers. Not even this. This is a shorter
mm,
format. We should not compare in that way, but they are great bowlers. Rabada is, I think, one of the all time greats by the time he retires from Test cricket. And Gidi is
mm.
great. Marco Jansen will be a great. So these are not ordinary bowlers as well. They know how to use the lengths to their advantage. And this wicket was holding up a bit. You have to be a bit smarter, I believe. I don't know what was the
Mm,
plan. And with
mm,
Ishan's wicket falling, the man in form, and Abhishek, I think, should have made good use of the situation, I believe, today.
mm. Again, then after that, Sky, he couldn't get going. He couldn't even rotate strike. That was a big problem for him today. Tilak, again, very disappointing. That shot, and again the wasted review. I would say it was kind of an embarrassing review, to be very honest, because the bat was nowhere close to the pad. That you'll talk about Ravi Shastri, right? If that's
Yeah,
what
I
you
think
want to say.
Ravi got it really wrong on air
Yeah,
when he said that.
yeah,
I think he thinks the ball has my ball might have brushed the pad, and the pad was nowhere in the picture as that was
yeah,
only the bat and the ball. So I don't know how he made that comment. Anyways, back to
yeah.
Tilak Verma. I think Tilak Verma. I mean, don't get me wrong. Otherwise, I maybe 6 months back when the tournament, when the selection was being made for the Asia Cup, there also uh, my suggestion was we should have a Shreyas Iyer in the squad because given the World Cup is in subcontinent and we know how good a player against spin he is. And anyways, this game gave me the exact picture of this year's GT versus MI at Ahmedabad. If you remember, it was the second game probably they played of the
Last
IPL.
year's, I mean,
GT.
2025
Uh,
IPL.
because the first game they lost to Punjab Kings because it was a belter of a wicket, and then they chose a black soil wicket against MI because MI's batters were like hard hitting batters MI had, and then everything fell apart. I think in the power play, there's Gujarat also scored like similar kind of a score, 185, 190 kind of pitch, and we were waiting for the dew to come in and then MI to chase it down comfortably. What we see in Ahmedabad, but it didn't happen. It was exactly the same game. I think MI also lost by some 30 odd runs, and there also Tilak and Sky got stuck completely after the power play. But this time they didn't have to wait for the end of the power play as well. They were struggling in the power play itself. So that is a major, major concern if you ask me. That
Yeah,
is a
yeah, it
major
is. It
concern.
is now. It is now because prior to this game, I thought, okay, let's give Tilak a bit of time. He's coming back from an injury. He'll get better. Although we knew that on these kind of wickets, he does tend to struggle a bit. And I talked about run chases, right? For me, I don't look at the openers as the ones who will carry us to the run to the end of the run chase. For me, it's always been regardless of whether you're batting first or batting second, the openers go all guns blazing, and that's what suits their game as well. And it's your number three, which is Tilak, who would ideally play that not sheet anchor role, I
Consolidator.
suppose.
The
The
consolidator,
yeah, the
you can say.
consolidator, the one who holds one end. This is a run chase that I'm talking about, not first innings. So one end, basically the Virat Kohli role. One guy should be doing that, and I thought Tilak is supposed to be the one to do that. Didn't happen. Sky also was poor today, unfortunately. The less talked about Sundar's batting today, the better. Then we come to Hardik, and I think the game was done at that point of time, but I still wished that Hardik should have gone a bit more aggressive um, alongside Shivam Dubey, or maybe if you wanted to delay it further down, for delay it further, then probably you could have sent in a Rinku Singh and tried a few. Maybe he would have gotten a few runs, or maybe he would have taken a bit of time from the game, and then you would have let Hardik, Rinku, and Dubey in the last 5, 7 overs do some destruction. Probably that would have saved you the run rate, but again, uh, you would say for argument's sake that we were in the game, but 10 overs, 130 on this sort of a wicket with three batters is, I mean, par. I mean, it's very far for the course.
Yeah, for sure. And my problem means I was most disappointed with Hardik today, and also some to some
Yeah.
extent Rinku as well. because Rinko had a chance. At least he should have batted out some overs because there were like 6 overs left when he came in, and he just don't know what
And
kind
at
of a
that
shot it
point of the
was.
game was, and at that point the game was anyway completely done because
Yeah,
you weren't
you could not
getting
have scored.
100 runs in
You
those
could
six
not
overs.
score. Correct. So I didn't get the point from Rinko because this was one game where she should have batted and spent some time at the crease. And to talk about Hardik, Hardik somehow hasn't been influential with the bat in the second innings. If you see, especially in the run chases over 180, even with the Mumbai Indians, apart from that one game against Bangalore this year at the 1KD, I don't think he has been good with the at the run chases. If you took last year, he was slow against CSK, one of the games where I think Rohit scored 100. He was pretty poor,
Hmm.
Hardik, in that run chase and
Last year,
completely came
2024 IPL that
24,
was.
24 IPL, correct. That game, then one game against SRH when 270 odd were being chased. And Mumbai was like 10 at the 10 over mark. Mumbai was at almost at par with SRH, where SRH were. Then Hardik
Hmm.
comes in at number 4 or 5, then completely kills the momentum. So I
Hmm.
don't know what has happened with him exactly. In the run chases, he has been brilliant in the first innings, but in the run chases over 180, he has been disappointing. That is a fact,
Hmm.
and I can't argue with the numbers which we
Hmm.
have here. So that is something for the team management and something for a guy like him, a mentality
Hmm.
monster like him to look at. And to
Hmm.
talk about Dubey, I think Dubey, I think he did what he could have done. Maybe he could have scored few more runs. He connected a
No,
few more shots
hmm.
so that the net run rate could have been high. But I don't think
I think
anyways it would have mattered where we ended up. If you see,
so you know that like before we started off the World T20, not just World T20 actually, before the Asia Cup itself, we were thinking like maybe different experiment, probably Dubey would fit in or not fit in. But I have to be very honest here, Shivam Dubey has been our best batter, if I'm not wrong, if you combine both the Asia Cup and the World Cup. To be very honest, if you look at the numbers at least, I don't think there's anybody who has been
not in
good
not in
in
the
both.
Asia Cup, but in the World Cup, you can say. Asia Cup, apart from the
No,
final, there were no runs for Dubey. Asia
no,
Cup,
no. So
apart from final,
that's
he
what
didn't
I'm
have
saying
any
because
runs.
he. I don't think there's anybody who has performed in both the tournaments. That's what I'm saying. So Tilak, you can say he was there in the Asia Cup. He did well, but apart from that, who else in the Asia Cup? Only two batters performed for us: Abhishek and Tilak, and Dubey in the final. Right, three batters. And in the World T20, you can say Surya got some runs. Dubey is there. So I think, and Ishan, of course, Ishan has been phenomenal. Ishan didn't play the Asia Cup. So I think Dubey has played one crucial knock there in the Asia Cup, the final. And then in World T20 also, he has been kind of saving us from embarrassments in multiple games. And today, I think he tried at least. There is no way we should be sitting down here and criticizing him. And towards the end also, if you look at his final score, maybe it tells you that he wasted a few deliveries, but that's not the case. He was just playing out the
He
overs.
was trying a
Yes,
lot.
the game was done.
To be honest, he was
He
trying.
tried
To be honest, he was
initially
trying a
when
lot.
the game was still there. He tried to kind of get closer to the target. Once the game was done, it was his job like to play out the overs, which he did. That's how we should just leave it. So cool. That's how the game has flowed. Let's talk about what's next. Uh, Before going to that, let's talk about the conclusion of today's game. I think the Washington Sundar selection over Akshar Patel, for me, has cost us multiple junctures. Though despite that 187 chase, we should have chased it down because of the batting strength that we have. And even if we couldn't have chased it down, maybe not 76-run defeat is what I would have expected. Because this one was too much. Second, he played over Akshar Patel because of more lefties. If that was the case, you could have used him right where he should have been, which was the power play. Also, one other point to mention here is Akshar Patel's numbers are in fact better against left-handers than right-handers since the 2024 World Cup. I mean, post the 2024 World Cup. I saw this stat on CricBuzz. Although he's bowled very little to the left-handers, he's bowled only about 100 balls picked up 6 wickets compared to 28 wickets of right-hand batters. But his average strike rate, economy, I think economy was 7.5 against lefties and 7.15 against righties. But apart from that, all the other numbers were better against lefties. So go figure. So that is one. And secondly, let's talk about the future. Pratik, do you see any massive changes happening? Like, for example, one change I see happening is Akshar straight away coming in place of Washington Sundar in the next game. Now let's talk about the top three part. Do you think Sanju Samson coming in? Do you see it?
See, the point is, even if Sanju Samson comes in and the way he has been batting in the last 1 year, not even last 3 months or something, in the last 1 year, what happens if he fails the next two games? Again, will you go for his head? Okay, bring back Tilak Verma in at number three. We won't. Why did you bring back Samson? Or these kind of chants can come up, right? So
Yeah.
that is also something that you have to consider. But if you want to get Sanju Samson in, then make sure it is a permanent selection. Then will be no more changes. Tilak Verma goes out, Sanju Samson comes in, and you, no matter what, you have to stick with him for the rest of the tournament.
Exactly. That's the risk with this sort of a selection. I think that is something that I talked about when we talked about the Abhishek. Sorry, we talked about Ishan versus Samson. Because once you go in with Ishan, there's no turning back because you can't again go back to Sanju Samson because the point why you picked Ishan over Samson was because Samson wasn't performing. The same thing applies here also because I don't see you changing Ishan or Abhishek. The only guy who hasn't been actually performing his role is Tilak Verma. So he's the only guy who could go out. But if he goes out, then there's no way you can again go back to him if Sanju also fails. You have to keep that in mind.
Also, one more point what I would like to add is we have to be bit smart with how we are going to uh, play the middle overs, especially the middle overs, because the phases of 7 to 11 have been pretty poor for us, especially when Sky and Tilak both have been at the crease together. I don't think India has fared really well, neither against Pakistan nor against Namibia nor against Netherlands. Now today they didn't get a chance only to come to that point. The match was over in the power play itself. So this is something that we have to take care of in the upcoming matches because one thing that Santner told after the conclusion of the fifth T20I that we are not going to get these kind of wickets in the World Cup. So I don't think we should take these results too seriously or this beating too seriously. And unfortunately, that has been the case. We aren't getting the wickets that we would have hoped for. Maybe this time Chennai wicket is looking like looking like 2011 wicket. What MS was talking about all these years. That I've been talking to the curator, but still I'm not going to get that good batting wicket. But this year, Chennai has been a brilliant batting wicket. I think the best that we have seen in the games in India, especially. So so that is a good sign. I hope we get the same wicket against Zimbabwe. And again, in Eden Garden, you never know. You never know. But let's see what happens.
I think
Because
we
because
both have a
the
bit of
worst
faith.
part is because the
Hmm.
worst part is Eden Garden. Every time we play a game there, maybe we play a game or KKR plays a game, there is some controversy with the curator. Remember the test match we had last time against South
Yeah.
Africa? What kind of a wicket we got? And there were all kinds of talk that no, we only asked, and there were some reports, no, we didn't ask. There was a confusion and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
unfortunate, and we never know what is going to come because this loss is like humiliating as well as terrifying for me at this point of time.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, so I'm very confident that India is going to lift this World Cup still. But having said that, Eden Gardens, when you when you refresh that memory for me of that test match, we are facing West Indies at Eden Garden, and West Indies is a team which can surprise you. If it is a slow wicket, then they are one of the best teams to play because they have
The
something
problem,
that we they have something that not all the Indian batters have, and that is pure raw power, which comes into the game instantly if it's a slow wicket.
Exactly. So that is my concern. If we are getting a belt, we need two belters. To be honest, if I had some power, if I was at some position in the ICC or BCCI, the only thing I can do is I would have done is expect to ask the local curator to get the best wicket. Best wicket. When
Mm,
I say it is a 220 wicket, what we have been
mm,
used to, and this is an issue that we have faced in the past as well. Before the World Cup, we play on some kind of wicket, and then we come to the World Cup, the wickets completely change,
mm.
and this doesn't help our cause. Even in 2016, if you remember, this kind of wickets were not there. These kind of wickets before the World Cup, there were the wickets were really good in the Sri Lanka series. Then we came to the World Cup, suddenly everything was very slow. So yeah,
Good. I think the chairman has to do some work here. Without any names, we just let it out. We don't know which chairman we're talking about, but some chairman needs to do some work. Probably he gets it done, and we see results in our favor from the next game onwards. So we'll leave you with that. I think we'll be back after the Zimbabwe game. I'm sure that India is going to wrap it up comfortably. Also, the West Indies game, and we'll get to the semifinals. So, on that positive note, we end this video. We'll see you in the next one. Up until then, ciao.